Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts is a game a lot of people were excited for when it was first announced. Finally, a new Banjo-Kazooie game after all of these years. But the game released to widespread disappointment. Sure, critics loved the game, but fans of the original Banjo games didn't like the new vehicle-based gameplay and just wrote the game off as terrible and a huge letdown. Myself, I was one of these people. I didn't play this game until several years after it was released when I bought it to play as a joke on my live stream. But although I bought it expecting to hate the game, I actually fell in love with it, and it has now become my favorite game of all time. And it's for that reason I am so excited to finally say, hello and welcome to Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. Finally, we get to start this series. I did the first Banjo-Kazooie a couple of years ago now, and I believe it was last year I did Banjo-Tooie. So now we are moving on to Nuts and Bolts. Kind of the black sheep of the series, but my personal favorite game in the series and my favorite game of all time. Although I will admit I haven't actually played Banjo Pilot on the Game Boy Advance, so let's just ignore that fact. Maybe that game's a masterpiece and I'm missing out. But yes, this is going to be a 100% Let's Play. It's going to be all the different vehicle parts you can get in the game. We're going to collect all of that. I'll go over every single mission in the game, all kinds of Easter eggs and references and all of that stuff. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's just get past this little title screen right here, and we get dropped into this little menu right here. Now, real quick, we're going to go over the options. There's not really too much to go over. There's some volume settings right there, and I guess a very angry tea kettle. There's also display settings, and there is one important option right here. There's an option for large dialogue text. I want you out there who are watching this on like mobile devices, for example, let me know if the small text is actually going to be hard for you guys to read. I'm going to leave this large dialogue text option off for now, but if a lot of you have trouble reading the small text on mobile devices or smaller screens or whatnot, just let me know and I'll think about changing that one. We've also got some control settings. This is pretty much just inverting your camera, which I don't really plan to do. We got photos and replays which you can save during the game. We've got some game information, which brings me to my next point. We are also going to go over every single achievement in the game. This game is supposed to be an Xbox 360 exclusive. It is also on the Rare Replay on the Xbox One. However, that version does not have the achievements. So the achievements here will only apply to the Xbox 360 version, but I will be doing all the achievements in the game, or at least trying to. Some of the achievements do require multiplayer stuff. I'm not sure if the multiplayer servers are still online, but I guess we'll figure that out as we go. So yes, indeed, there's also a multiplayer option, and of course, the most important is single player. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. There's a little bit of an intro right here, and it's got some voiceover and stuff, so I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys watch that. I'm not gonna commentate over it, so I'll see you in about 2 minutes or so on the other side of this intro. Enjoy.
Once upon a time, there lived a heroic bear called Banjo, a rather loud bird called Kazooie, and an unpleasant witch called Gruntilda. When Banjo's sister was kidnapped, the bear and bird rescued her from the depths of the witch's lair, overcoming many perils and speech impediments to send Gruntilda tumbling to her doom. But she was nothing if not persistent, and surprising nobody, the old hag soon rose from her grave for round 2. Our brave heroes once again stood in her way, and this second showdown ended just as badly for Gruntilda, who really should have quit while she was ahead. Many years have passed, and peace reigns in Spiral Mountain. So what became of the bear, the bird, and the witch?
And this is the point where the voiceover ends, and I'm going to join back in with you guys here. And we can see our heroes after 8 years have passed from Banjo-Tooie. You can see the heroes have put on a little bit of extra weight right there. What can you say? They just love pizza. Now, Kazooie's more of the gamer. You can see she's kind of got the whole headset and controller thing going on, so maybe she's more into Mountain Dew and Doritos. I don't know. It says 10 years since they were invented. So yes, the original came out in 1998. Banjo-Tooie was 2000, and this game is 2008. There's one thing to note, which is there was also a game on the Game Boy Advance called Banjo-Kazooie Grunty's Revenge. I'm really not sure how that game fits into the timeline, but for the purpose of this game, they kind of ignore its existence, and whenever they mention time, like it's been so long since CRUD has happened, they always seem to mention that as if the last game was Banjo-Tooie. So I don't know too much about Grunty's Revenge. But speaking of Grunty, here she is, still just ahead from Banjo-Tooie right here. And she's coming back after 8 long years from Banjo-Tooie. So while this game did come out in 2008, I actually didn't play it myself until I think 2012 or maybe 2013. And also, if you look right there at the bottom left, you can see a Nintendo 64 covered in spider webs. Kind of a cute little thing right there, but the wires are all frayed and split up. And unfortunately, once we gain control of Banjo right here, well, first off, look at our guy in all of his glory. Wow. But you can see the Nintendo 64 is actually gone. I don't know why it vanishes, but it's only in the cutscene right there. Now, if we want to continue the actual game, we'll just walk over that way. You can see Grunty's head's kind of bouncing off in the distance right there. But I want to show you guys a couple of little Easter eggs. If we go up inside the dumpster, well, first off, we're about to get interrupted by some dialogue. Yes, indeed. If we weren't so unfit, you could have flown us there, Kazooie. I don't know if it's Kazooie's fault for being unfit or Banjo's fault for eating too many pizzas. But if we go inside the dumpster, we'll see a bunch of references to different rare stuff. We've got Witchy World right there, which is a reference to Banjo-Tooie. If we push some stuff out of the way, you can see an actual Banjo. There's an ice key. There's the rare logo. We've also got a Pinata. That's a Fudge Hog from Viva Pinata, which is an amazing game, which I highly recommend you guys play. Maybe I'll do a Viva Pinata Let's Play at some point. I don't know how that would work. We've also got right here this old-looking dude. That's the Whatnot book from Cameo Elements of Power. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. The thing on the left right there, that skull, I don't actually know what that is. I think it's a reference to Grabbed by the Ghoulies. And the thing on the right, I'm not sure as well. But yeah, just some little references right there. Let's go ahead and hop out. Oh, get completely stuck, I guess. And we've got one more little thing over here. Maybe I should have ordered the small pizza. Maybe Banjo. But let's go check out this. You can see there's a grave. In Banjo-Tooie, Bottles had a tragic death. And, well, here is his grave. I know, Banjo. I know about your stinking small pizzas, man. Let's go read this sign here. Let's just hit this. It'll give us some information on this grave here. Bottles grave. Rip Bottles. Banjo and Kazooie's mole associate tragically died here in 2000, but managed to rise from the dead about a week later. Okie dokie. Well, with that, let's go and continue the game here. So we just have to walk a little bit further, and we'll get thrown back into another cutscene. And it's at this point I gotta let you guys know, today's episode is going to be a little bit on the slow side. This game, after you get past all the intro tutorials, it's pretty hands-off. It kind of just takes off the training wheels and lets you go. But for this first episode, it's going to be a lot of tutorials and all that kind of crud. So we'll just have to bear with it for one episode. But starting tomorrow, it'll be back to normal. Or not back to normal, but we'll have the training wheels taken off and we can just do our own thing here. And suddenly, we're going to go into a jumping fight with beautiful pause fonts. Look at that font text, or text font right there. And we got some creepy-looking computer guy with some kind of royal robe, some kind of majestic fleece, I guess. I don't know. Greetings, those second-rate game characters. How dare you? You're a second-rate game character, dude. Jeez. I mean, Kazooie, maybe Kazooie second-rate, but definitely not Banjo. So this guy is the Lord of Games, also called Log for short, the grand creator of all video games. Wow. Even ones that don't sell well like Ghoulies. So that's one thing you'll notice with this game is there's lots of self-deprecating humor, which a lot of people don't like. Personally, I always feel like that's just something that the Banjo game would totally do. I feel like the humor for this game is totally on point with what a Banjo game would do. So you could look at it self-deprecatingly, I guess, which it is, but I just think it's very fitting. I mean, a lot of people will say about this game things like, I would like this game if it wasn't a Banjo game, it just doesn't fit. And also, we've got more Viva Pinata stuff right here. We got the Pinata right there on the left, but honestly, I feel like this game totally fits as a Banjo-Kazooie game. Yes, the gameplay is different, but the humor, the music, the atmosphere, it all fits, and that's part of why I love it so much, being a Banjo fan myself. But now, in Banjo tradition, our challenge is going to consist of collecting a lot of pointless items. So yeah, again, poking fun at the collectathons of old. But let's go ahead. Now, right here, if we walk forward, we actually walk too slow and we can't beat Grunty. But if we go backwards, there's a lot more items and we can actually get a higher count than her. Although, once we get up to 9 seconds on the clock, the game's going to be cut short right here. No, it's too painful to watch. Gamers today, speaking of painful, that crown on the right is like all up in my face. But gamers today don't want all this. They just want to shoot things. But as we're broadening the demographic, I'll have to think of something original. And again, I think that is poking fun at how, you know, back in the PS1 N64 era, 3D collectathons were kind of the king of video games, and it's kind of moved on to FPS at this point. I don't know, is FPS still king? I think now it's more about survival and open world games and CRUD. But anyways, let's get past this right here and continue with the intro. Very well then, failures. Listen carefully. This guy is just mean. I'm not a big fan of Log personally. I think he's kind of a jerk. Failures, we've been in several games. Yeah, like Banjo Pilot, which I still need to play. And I think that was a Mario reference. He does have a point. He's like a pen. gonna transport us to a brand new game world right here. And I guess he says more impressive than anything we've seen. I've seen a lot of games, so I guess we'll have to take a look. And now he spawns a portal right here. All right. Yeah, I don't think we're really in shape for an adventure right now. The years have not been super kind to us. Oh, but I guess this guy's got magical powers, and it can make us super fit once again. Although Grunty, I guess Grunty just has to be ahead. I mean, he's gonna spawn like some weird Frankenstein monster floor to put her head inside, but at the end of the day, Grunty is still just ahead here, I guess. Any other requests? Maybe like a super cool car, that'd be rad. Where are my moves from the previous games? Yeah, unfortunately, we don't get all the cool moves that we had from the previous Banjo-Kazooie games, which were mostly Kazooie, but Banjo-Tooie also had some moves for Banjo there. But yeah, we don't get those moves in this game. Unless you count jumping, we can jump. And here we go, the 2 cars that spawn. And of course, this is where I made a joke back in Glitch Fest. For those who don't know, Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts was the first Glitch Fest I ever made. And I swear that's a series that still exists, totally. But yeah, we don't get the cool car. We're gonna get this one right here. And speaking of glitches, I guess I should mention this. I'm sure some of you are wondering, am I going to glitch throughout this playthrough? And the answer to that is no. I don't plan to do any glitches. And the reason for that is, as we go through the game, we're going to collect a bunch of different vehicle parts that we can use to build really cool vehicles and all that. But if we use the glitches, we'll basically get the best parts in the game, or nearly the best parts in the game, right at the start. And if we do that, I just don't think it'll be as fun. We won't have that sense of progression, you know? We won't be like improving our vehicle throughout the game. We'll just get the best stuff right at the start, and we'll just stick with the same vehicle for the entire game. So I feel like it'd be more fun to do a more normal playthrough for this one. But here, we are launched into the new world, and what a place it is. We've got lots of random animals, like pigs wearing coconut bikinis. Why not? This is definitely a thing you want to wake up to. Banjo's like, what the crud am I doing here? What even is Banjo wearing around his neck? Maybe it's like a bear tooth. Maybe that's one of his own teeth. I don't know. But while we're here, we still have the Lord of Games to deal with, unfortunately. Well, let's begin. So this town here, as he says, is known as Showdown Town. We will be spending a lot of time here. This is basically this game's hub world. We don't have like a Grunty's Lair or anything like that. For Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, the hub world is Showdown Town. And honestly, this is probably my favorite part of the game. I think the hub world is just awesome in this game. Of course, you know, the Grunty stuff, Grunty's Lair from previous games, those were awesome as well. But I just feel like for a vehicle-based game, having something more town-based is kind of fitting, and I like it. Alrighty. Well, they're just gonna give us a little overview of the town, some more intro type stuff right here. Yep. Yeah, what happened to Grunty? Oh, there she is. Yeah, but she also built some grunt bots. Those are gonna be some of the enemies we see through the game, and we'll be seeing them a lot. We'll just have to get used to that, I guess. So yeah, how are we gonna fight these grunt bots if we don't have our sick moves from before? I mean, jumping on them, jumping has never really dealt damage like it did with Mario, but he is going to give us this wrench. Now, it looks silly, Kazooie's kind of just swinging randomly, but this wrench is gonna give us some really awesome moves. It's gonna let us do some amazing stuff. I think you guys will grow to love the wrench. It's awesome. But who is this little fella? Well, they're very cute, yes, but Grunty is a little bit of a butthead. Uh-oh. I mean, I would never do that. I'm not even a cat fan myself, but I would never do that, dude. I would never purposely harm an animal, dude. And maybe you shouldn't, because this thing is menacing. It's gonna go right for the gosh dang power cable on this guy. Well, I guess Grunty's going to learn her lesson. And with that, we are finally through with the intro cutscene, and we get dropped into tutorial land. Hooray! So Log right here is going to say, now then, hold down the right trigger to pick up objects, and release it to drop them. Pick up this Mumbo crate and take it to the skull-faced gentleman over there, which is Mumbo. Anyways, we'll get through this dialogue. But we're stuck inside this giant red box. And of course, if you look at it, it is covered in Lord of Game faces. This guy is just so full of himself, dude. Over there you can see we've got a note, but because we're stuck along this box right here, well, we can't actually get it. It's a little bit stuck there. But as you might have noticed, yes, we can pick up items. This game does have a very awesome physics engine, one of the other awesome parts about this game. Of course, we can jump as well, but there's one other thing we can do with the wrenches, which is we can attack if we press X. We can also do a jumping attack, which will let us do some platforming stuff as well. But let's go ahead and pick up this item, and I just want to show off, it's actually pressure sensitive. So if we press it a little bit less, you can see it'll actually lower it down. So depending on how much we press right trigger, it'll raise it or lower it. But with that, let's move on past this little tutorial. We'll drop off the box like we're supposed to, and we'll go and talk to Mumbo. Now this crate right here will actually have a bunch of items that we can use to build vehicles. As it says right here, it'll give you vehicle parts which you need in order to play the game. So this crate right here is basically crate number 1. The crates will be numbered, and later on we'll find crate 2 and beyond, but this one I guess counts as number 1. So we'll never actually find crate number 1 later on. But here is the list of contents, so I'll go over this real quick. We've got a standard seat, which is very important. If you actually want to sit in your car, you gotta have a seat. We've got some wheels, which are pretty self-explanatory. We've got a small engine. You need this if you actually want to move. Small fuel. If you don't have fuel, you won't move even if you have an engine. The tray right here is basically just to hold items if you want to transport things. Down here we've got small taxi seats. Now these you can't sit in yourself, but certain missions you'll have to transport other characters, and using this it gives them a place to sit. So if you have a transport mission, you gotta have taxi seats. Now here we've got small ammo. We'll get weapons later on that use the ammo. Right now we don't actually have any weapons, but we've got the ammo for later use. And down here we've got a bunch of items. These are really just going to be used for, well, basically building the vehicle. These don't have any specific purpose other than just kind of being body pieces, so they can take some hits. You can kind of use them as armor or just to connect things, but no direct purpose from those guys. So let's go ahead and back out. That's all the items right there. And he's just going to show us a little bit around Showdown Town here and show us where some of the crates are. You can see they're all numbered right here. There's crate number 8, for example. And we'll be getting all of those throughout this playthrough. Do not even worry. Now at this point, he's going to take us inside the garage. And this is where we're going to be building all of our vehicles. But they're going to give us a tutorial here. I'm actually going to skip the tutorial, guys, because this CRUD is a little bit long-winded and kind of boring to watch. And I feel like I can explain it myself a little bit later on, much quicker. So we're going to skip that tutorial, and I'll just show that off next episode when we build our own vehicle. Ekom bokum, trolley vehicle upside down, not panic. Better stand next to things, pull left trigger to flip it over. Try now, stand next to trolley and pull left trigger to turn the vehicle right way up. So yes, we could do that. Our vehicle's a little bit upside down right now, but I just want to show off one last thing we can do with our controls here. So if we knock down a bunch of stuff, first off, a lot of stuff is physics-based in this game, which is awesome. But as he said, you can press the left trigger to flip stuff up, but we can also pick stuff up like this, and if we press left trigger while we're holding it, it'll also flip it while we're holding it, and the way it flips is based on where our camera is facing. And one other thing that's super handy, I didn't even know about this the first time I played the game, but if you press the right bumper and left bumper, it'll actually toggle between different targets. So if you're trying to pick up a particular item, that is super handy. But enough for the tutorials, let's go ahead, flip this CRUD over, and once we hop inside our vehicle by pressing Y here, we'll get this box drop down, and we can now go and start exploring Showdown Town. But because of the things we did in my playthrough a couple of years ago in Banjo-Kazooie, we actually unlocked some special crates. These are based on the stop and swap stuff from the Xbox Live Arcade version of Banjo-Kazooie. So definitely go watch that playthrough if you haven't seen it. That playthrough connects to this one. I still have that save data, and this is affecting it. You would not see this if you didn't do the stuff from the original Banjo-Kazooie. And this also kind of serves to show us all around Showdown Town. We pretty much get a view of the entire place here. It's showing us where all these crates are going to be, but it's worth noting that these special crates are not that important. If you're a completionist like myself, yes, they're going to be important if you want to get all the things, but they're mostly just aesthetic items. They're not actually going to have really a practical purpose, so you're not going to have worse vehicles or anything like that if you don't have them. But with that, we can finally start driving around, and the first thing we want to do is this right here. We want to drive on top of this thing. I see you've discovered a warp. Not much use at the moment, but find another and you'll be able to travel instantly between them. Like a shortcut, most convenient. Yes, kind of like the little warp cauldrons from Gruntilda's lair. We can use those to warp around Showdown Town. Very handy, but, well, not quite yet. We gotta collect some more stuff. And now around here, we've got some notes to collect. Of course, if you played a Banjo game, you have seen these before. Now in this game, oh, gosh dang it, Log, I don't want to deal with your CRUD. That's quite enough messing around. Drive your trolley around the bottom of my hill and climb the winding path to my factory so that I can get this wonderful game properly started. I'm trying to get it properly started myself, but you guys keep interrupting me. Gosh dang it. Well, basically, this is our first mission in the game. We have to climb the mountain right here and go talk to Log. I'm going to do a bit of stuff around Showdown Town before we go and do that, but that will be the first big mission. They're kind of showing the exact path. Like I said, for the early portions of the game, they really put the training wheels on. They really hold your hand, but after this first episode, that'll all change. But for now, yes, they're showing us exactly how to get up there. But I'm gonna go collect some stuff, dude. We can go and, I guess, run into Grunty. Hold on. Let's see if we can crash right into her. Get out of my way, Penguin. Gosh dang it, man. Grunty, oh, if we get some good speed, we can actually knock her pretty good here. Oh, well, I'll try again later. I can't quite get it right now. But yes, let's go and collect some notes, and we'll also find some more crates. Here's crate number 4. I still gotta get crate number 2 and 3. We'll get to there. For these notes here, a bronze note is worth 1, a silver note is worth 5, and the gold note like this one, that is worth 10. So if we collect a bunch of these, they're not going to be used like they were in the original game where they were kind of used to unlock stages and all that, unlock doors and all that, but in this game, they're basically used to buy vehicle parts, so that's what we'll be using them for. So we definitely want to collect as many notes as we can. Let me see if I missed any. Well, first off, there's a crate over by the shop over here. Over here, we do have Humbawumba. She is basically a shop where we can buy vehicle parts. However, her shop is not open right now, so even if we go collect a bunch of notes, can't really do anything there quite yet. But now let's go over this way. This is where crate number 2 is going to be, so let's go grab this guy. There we go. Let's grab him, put him on here. So you can see we've already got crate 2, 3, 4, and 5, but I also want to get crate number 6. And to get that one, we have to go over to this pole right here. Now, if we get close to it, you can see there's like these little footprints. Basically, that just means we can climb it. So let's go ahead and grab on, go up to the top, and now we have to walk on this little tightrope. This is pretty much like if you've ever played Tony Hawk Pro Skater where you have to grind and balance as you go. Pretty much the same thing. We just got to walk, balance left and right with the joystick as we go along, and hopefully not fall off. But once we get over here, we've got more notes to find. And one really odd thing with the notes, I don't know why they did this, but pretty much every time you find notes, they'll always be in clusters. There's always going to be 7 bronzes, 2 silvers, and 1 gold. So you can see there's the 2 silvers. There is the gold up here. Oh, let me go ahead and grab this guy, make sure I don't miss it. And if there's a thing that's kind of hard to reach, you can actually just, you can kind of get a little bit close and just grab it with your wrench just like that. And then we can drop it down, try to get it. There we go. But yeah, there's our gold, and then here's all the bronzes. There's one over here that's kind of super sneaky. Not this guy, but it's like right down on a windowsill. Let me see if I can spot it. Do you see it down there? Let's just press right trigger, and it'll yank it back up for us. There we go, Banjo. Oh, there we go. We got it. And that's up to 53. I missed one somewhere. I should be up to 54, because we should have 2 clusters of 27. So I gotta find that last note, but let's go ahead and drag this guy down first. Oh, not balance on that CRUD. Oh, gosh dang it, falling everywhere. Let's go ahead and get this CRUD. Oh, there it is, way off in the distance. You guys see that CRUD on the floor? That is the note from the first cluster in this kind of ground area. There are some more notes that we can get, but that's all we're gonna get for now. Let's go turn all these crates in. Our vehicle is very hard to control once we've got this much stuff in it. Let's try not to spill our crates everywhere. And let's go talk to Mumbo right here. And here we go. Let's see, let's skip through this CRUD. Now, one thing that's really important to keep in mind is that these crates, aside from the first crate, the crates you find usually will only have a couple of items, so this might not look like that much considering I just got 5 crates, but that's just kind of how it is. So the first thing we got is an egg gun, a very basic weapon. This one will use ammo. It's actually quite effective, low damage, but good accuracy on that guy. Here we've got another weapon called Fulgor's Fist, and this guy is, it doesn't actually shoot. You actually have to ram into your enemies to make use of this one. Higher damage, but pretty hard to hit since you have to get up close. We've just got more wheels if you for some reason want to make a vehicle with 8 wheels. More fuel, which is very useful. This item, Ariel, is a little bit strange. Nothing to do with the Little Mermaid, trust me. But it basically is like a little radio. If you put this on your vehicle, it'll play random sounds when you're in different stages. So not that useful, but it's kind of cool, I guess. And we've got some more body parts right here. And it looks like that's it. So that's it for now. Let's go ahead and drive up to the top now. We've pretty much done all I want to do for collecting at this point. So let's go do our actual mission. Go to the top of Log Mountain and talk to Log and see what he has to say to us. And I kind of forgot to point this out earlier, but I am going to be having a little pop-up that shows whenever I get achievements, because on my profile, since I've already played this game, most of the achievements I already have, so you won't see the Xbox pop up. So instead, I'll just be popping them up myself. So we've already got a couple achievements so far. One was for collecting 2 crates. One was actually kind of like way back in the intro when we did that pointless collecting game, so that's what that was. Basically, just participate in the game, and you get the achievement, and then turn in 2 crates, we get another achievement. So that's it for that. Let's go ahead and grab all of these notes, and let me go talk to Log here. So we just gotta hop out of our vehicle. Let's go give him a chat ski here and see what he says. So he's gonna point out right here, we get a game globe. Very well, now listen, these are game globes. They become available when you bank enough jiggies, but as you don't have any jiggies yet, I'll grant you the first game globe for free. Well, thanks. You're very kind, dude. Placing a game globe on its plinth will unlock one of the fabulous game worlds of my creation. This guy is just so full of himself. Of course, calling his own game world fabulous. Be careful not to lose the game globe, otherwise you'll have to come back up here and get another by using this wrench it bolt. Now, put the game globe in your vehicle, take it to its plinth, and I'll tell you how to win your first Jiggy. So yes, indeed, we will still be collecting Jiggies, just like we did in the previous Banjo games. And I guess I'll show you guys what happens if we, say we just take this thing and whoops-a-daisy, we drop it off the side of a mountain right here. I don't feel like going down there to get it, so we can just go back to this little wrench it bolt, and we can grab onto that with our magic powers. And we can spin it just like that. So let's go ahead and grab this guy, drop him in like that, and off we go. So I'm actually going to go down this big ramp. You might have been wondering why I didn't drive up that in the first place and took that scenic route. That's because the green ramps are very slippery, as you're about to see. We cannot possibly stop at this. Watch out, Mr. Rhino. Okay, I think we're fine. So let's just go down here, and we'll drop this globe into the plinth. And what that'll do is it'll unlock Nutty Acres, our first game world. So on the left right there, you see it'll unlock Nutty Acres Act 1. All these different doors are basically more acts. It's still the same world, but it's going to have different missions. It's going to have, sometimes like, it'll be nighttime or different parts of the different time of day. So it'll be different. It'll be the same world, but different, basically. I don't know how else to explain it. But each one will have its own missions, but we can only access Nutty Acres Act 1 for now. Wonderful! The first game world is now activated. Each game world has several acts where Jiggies can be won, and each door leads to a different act. You'll notice that each door requires a set number of Jiggies to open. I like to think of it as a classic Banjo homage? I don't know. The Jiggy total required is shown above the door, so you'll need that number of Jiggies in the Jiggy Bank to open it. So yeah, the numbers you've been seeing are what we need. Act 2 requires just 1 Jiggy. Act 6 requires 47. So some of the later acts, it's going to take a while to get there. As you can see, the Act 1 door to this game world is now open, so take a look inside as this is where your first Jiggy is located. Alrighty, sounds good. Let's go and get our first Jiggy. But before we go in, take note of all these things you see on the screen. We've got the top left is a Jiggy, the top right's a note, the bottom right is a gingo coin, and the bottom left is a trophy. I'm going to go ahead and enter the world because whenever you enter a new world in this game for the first time, I don't know why they do this, it's kind of weird, and you can totally skip it if you want, but they kind of do like a reference to old TV show intros. So the one for here is actually going to be like a TV show intro. I believe it's like some soap opera from the 1970s called Dallas. So I think it's from like 1978. I haven't personally gone and watched the intro to Dallas, so I'm not sure how this compares, but if you watched Dallas before, let me know how spot on this CRUD is. But yeah, we'll just go ahead and watch this intro. While it's playing, I'll go ahead and explain some of what those things we have to collect are. So at the top left, you saw the Jiggies, and those are pretty straightforward. We collect Jiggies by completing missions, and after doing that, we can unlock more stages. And also, as we get more Jiggies, we'll unlock new items at the shop, and we'll unlock new game worlds, things like that. At the top right were notes. Now, notes are very important because there's 200 notes in Nutty Acres, but notes are unique because you can collect them in any act. So there's 200 notes in Nutty Acres as a whole, but I can collect them in Nutty Acres Act 1, I can collect them in Nutty Acres Act 6. It doesn't matter where I collect them, it's just 200 notes for Nutty Acres as a whole. At the bottom left were trophies, which basically if you do really good on missions, you get trophies. I'll explain those a bit more. And I'll explain the thing at the bottom right as well. Kind of ran out of time right there. But here we are actually inside the world. Ah yes, Nutty Island, home to Nutty Acres Farm. It's actually quite famous. This is where they grow the toughest and most resilient coconuts in the world. I don't know why you would want a resilient coconut, but I guess there you go. This is a place that has those. Hey Kazooie, this place doesn't look too bad. Check out the view. Yeah, there's a bunch of giant gears in the background and some very odd looking trees. I guess for a place created inside Log's head, I expected worse. And speaking of unusually dense nuts, isn't that Klungo? What's with the Jiggy over his head? Yes, we're still in tutorial land, keep that in mind, guys. I believe you know the quirky green fellow. Approach Klungo and press the X button to talk. Alrighty, I guess we'll go ahead and do that. Let's go talk to him here. Hey there, Klungo, long time no see. Yes, indeed, which was fine with us, to be honest, so where's the warty one? Of course, Kazooie sassy as ever here. Klungo not work for Grunty no more, which mean and smell bad. Klungo buy her deodorant, she never use it. I don't know how to pronounce all these S's. Klungo one of good guys now. I guess Klungo is on our side right here. Really? That's nice. So is that why you have a floating Jiggy over your head? This mean Klungo have challenge. Win Klungo's challenge and he give Bear pretty gold Jiggy. And I want to ask you guys, do you think, well, basically every time we go to a mission, they're going to have, they're going to have these little bits of dialogue. Do you guys want me to skip the dialogue? Personally, I don't think it's that interesting, but I will read it if you guys think it's interesting enough to keep in, just for the sake of completion. But yeah, for our first mission right here, we basically just have to drive. It's a very simple mission. We have to go and check out what is causing the smoke in the distance right there. And we do that just by basically moving from point A to point B. It's kind of a dull mission, but we'll do it. Now, there's two types of missions in the game. There are Log's Choice missions, which this one is. Log's Choice basically just means you have to use the vehicle they provide for you. There's also another type of mission called Player's Choice, and for those, you can make your own custom vehicles and use those. But because this is Log's Choice, we just have to use this default vehicle, which is very, very dull. It's just a basic trolley right here, and off we go. We can collect some notes along the way, but we just have to drive. Oh gosh, drive very poorly. Gosh dang it. You know what? I'm gonna take out my anger on Mr. Cow right here. Get back here, you crowd. I'm gonna run you over. Get out of here. But we're just gonna go from point A to point B right here, and point B is that sign over there. Now at the top, you can see there's like a timer. The red, if we get into the red, that means we're only going to earn notes for beating this. The yellow means we'll earn a Jiggy, and the blue means we'll earn a trophy, which I might not get the trophy right now. Oh, crud. And no, I'm not getting a trophy. That's okay. Eco Bokum, who wants sausage? Could be a bit overcooked. Yeah. So basically the source of the smoke was just Mumbo all along. But for doing all that crud, we get our rewards right here. So we will get the notes because we got at least high enough to get the notes. We'll also get the Jiggy. Now the trophy, we're going to have to try again to get that guy. But what the trophies do, once you get 4 trophies, you can turn 4 trophies in for a Jiggy. So basically get lots of trophies, you get more Jiggies. It works out pretty easily like that. So let's go ahead and try again to get that Jiggy, because I want to show you guys something that's much more interesting than just driving with the default vehicle. Some missions will have hidden items that we can attach to our vehicle. Right here, we've got a little extra motor we can attach. And not only that, if we press B, we can actually customize our vehicle in the middle of the game. And if you look at the top, the timer is paused while we do this CRUD. So you know what? We don't need that CRUD. We're not transporting any items. And you know what? 4 wheels? We don't need 4 wheels. Let's go ahead and turn this into a motorcycle. And there we go. Now our vehicle is going to be much quicker. Heck yeah. And why go through the front door when we can go through the side? There's actually a secret little passage we can take. As you can see, we are way faster than we were before. And let's sneak in the side passage right here and get here much quicker and get that trophy super, super easily. And just like that, we've got our first trophy. Highly impressive, you scored a TT trophy. And for that, we're pretty much done with this mission. But there's one more thing we have to do inside Nutty Acres Act 1. There was also that collectible you guys saw at the bottom right, and these are Gingo coins. So in each act, there's going to be some missions where we interact with Gingos. And if we get these coins, we can basically turn them in for more fancy items for our vehicle later on. So let's go talk to this Gingo right here. I'm going to skip through the dialogue because it's very dull. It's basically just like telling us what we have to do here. And basically what we have to do is reach a certain speed. Once we get to that speed, we pass the mission. This one is very lenient, so we can use the basic super slow vehicle and it'll still be fine. All we do is drive down this hill right here. We'll get all the speed we need, and the mission will be over in like 2 seconds. There you go. Mission is over already. Very easy right here. And for that, we'll get our first Gingo coin. Now, it's worth keeping in mind, the colors do matter. So that is a red Gingo coin right there. So we've got 1 red Gingo coin. There's the second Gingo coin over on this side. Oh, gosh, trees in the way. Gosh, dang it, trees. You know, I'm just going to walk it. We're just going to walk it. We've got a green Gingo over here. So let's go talk to this guy. Now, this one is going to be a Gingo fetch quest. And what we have to do for this is go to a place, get an item, and bring it back. Now, once again, we could use a custom vehicle for this, and it might be worth doing to, like, make a little bit faster of a vehicle, because this vehicle is very slow and clumsy, but for now, it's going to suffice. I kind of want to do, like, a little bit of a tutorial thing for the vehicle builder, so I'm not going to build our own custom vehicle quite yet. We just got to watch out for grunt bots here. Grab the banjo right here, which we have to collect, put it inside our car, and just drive it right back. Would you not drive under me, you little crud? I am stuck right now. Okay, he's away. We got off. There we go. So now we just got to drive it back. I don't know if the time matters. I think maybe if you take way too long, it'll fail the mission. But it's pretty forgiving. You don't have to be very fast at all. Even with our super slow vehicle, we're totally fine. And there you go. We have finished off the second one here. And now we've got a green Gingo coin. And with that, we are pretty much totally done with Nutty Acres Act 1. Again, we could collect some notes here, but I'm not going to do that. I'll collect the notes a little bit later on. Once we have a vehicle that can actually fly, it'll make collecting notes a lot easier, so I'm going to kind of wait until then. But now that we've actually completed the mission and got our Jiggy, to actually turn it in, we have to go over to this little bank right here and, well, get interrupted by more dialogue. They're basically just going to tell us we drive up to it, we hop out of our vehicle, and you grab onto this thing. Gosh dang it, grab onto it, Kazooie. There you go, and then we spin the joystick, and out comes the Jiggy. Now we just take the Jiggy, and we drive it over to this little Jiggy bank right here, and that will turn the Jiggy in. So there we go, we now have one Jiggy in the Jiggy bank. There's like 113 Jiggies to collect, so it's going to be quite a long adventure, but, well, we've got one down. But we will start collecting them a lot faster from this point on. This first part, like I said, is just a lot of tutorial stuff. But from this point on, the tutorial is going to take a backseat, and we're going to be collecting a lot of items very quickly. And also, the shop has opened up. Right now, Humble Wumble's going to give us some vehicle blueprints. Now, we can use this if we want to use some vehicles in the missions without having to actually build them ourselves. We can use these. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of these. I'll be just building my own vehicles for everything, but if you just want to have something super easy, just grab a vehicle and go, these will work for that. And also, Log kind of pointed this out, but we could go over to Bottles over here to get even more tutorial stuff. We'll talk to Bottles a little bit later, but I think for now, this one has been going on long enough. We've got past all the intro stuff, all the tutorial stuff, so I think we're going to go ahead and call things a day here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys stuck through this episode. I know it's a little bit long-winded with all the tutorials, but once we come back for part 2, things will be a lot quicker moving, a lot more action-packed, and we'll be visiting Humble Wumble's shop and seeing what awesome items we can buy. So definitely check back for that. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to drop a like on the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care. I'm gosh dang playing Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts finally. I'm so excited.